Aisha Munro almost turned around the moment she stepped into the salon. Not because it looked dirty or unprofessional, it was the opposite. Luna and Lace Studio was curated down to the last detail. Pale wood floors, warm pendant lights, a wall of product bottles arranged like museum pieces. The kind of place that tried to make you feel lucky to be there. What made Aisha hesitate was the way the front desk girl looked up, scanned her, and then smiled a second too late. "Hi," Aisha said politely. "I'm here for a 4:30 appointment. Aisha Munro." The receptionist clicked a mouse, eyes flicking over the screen. "Okay," she said, voice bright but thin. "You're with Brooke." Aisha nodded and sat, smoothing her coat over her knees. She'd taken the afternoon off work for this. In 3 days she had a final round interview for a supervisor position, and she wanted her hair shaped, hydrated, and styled in a way that made her feel like herself, polished without being forced into somebody else's idea of professional. Her hair was in soft, stretched curls, healthy and dense. She'd spent years learning it, caring for it, protecting it. She'd also spent years dealing with people who treated it like a problem they needed to solve. Aisha kept her eyes on the small table of magazines and waited. A few minutes later, the stylist appeared with a confident walk and a smile that was all teeth. Brooke Sutherland, white, late 20s, sleek ponytail, long nails, black apron with the Salon logo. She didn't introduce herself so much as announce her presence. "Aisha," Brooke said, already turning toward the stations. "Come on back." Aisha stood and followed. At the chair, Brooke looked at Aisha's hair the way some people looked at messy rooms, like it offended them personally. She circled once, not touching, just assessing. "So," Brooke said, pulling out a comb, "what are we doing today?" "A trim and a silk press," Aisha said calmly. "Not bone straight, just smooth, healthy, and I'd like a deep conditioning treatment." Brooke's eyebrows lifted. "A silk press," she repeated, like it was a bold request. "Yes," Aisha said. "I booked the service online." Brooke gave a small laugh and finally touched Aisha's hair, pinching a curl between 2 fingers as if it were suspicious. "Do you straighten it often?" she asked. "No," Aisha replied. "A few times a year." Brooke's smile tightened. "Okay," she said. "I'm just going to be honest. This texture is a lot. It's going to take extra time." Aisha's shoulders stiffened slightly. "I booked the time slot," she said evenly. "And I'm okay paying for the conditioning add-on." Brooke waved a hand. "It's not just time," she said. "It's manageability. You might not get the result you're imagining unless we do something more permanent." Aisha met her eyes in the mirror. "I'm not doing anything permanent," she said calmly. "Just the services I requested." Brooke turned her head as if she were sharing a joke with the empty room. "You'd be surprised how many people come in with hair like this and expect it to behave," she said, voice loud enough for nearby stations. Aisha felt heat rise in her chest, but she kept her face composed. "My hair doesn't need to behave," she said quietly. "It's hair." Brooke's expression flickered. Annoyance, then a practiced smile. "Sure," she said. "Okay, let's start with a consult." Brooke pulled Aisha's curls apart roughly, combing through with the kind of speed that wasn't careful. Aisha winced once when the comb caught. "Please be gentle," Aisha said, still polite. "I'm tender-headed." Brooke sighed dramatically. "This is why people relax it," she said. "So you don't have to be so sensitive." Aisha inhaled slowly. "I'm not relaxing my hair," she repeated. "And I don't want commentary. I want a service." Brooke paused, then leaned closer to Aisha's head, lowering her voice as if this was private advice. It wasn't. The stylist at the next station could hear. A client nearby glanced over. "Look," Brooke said, "I'm trying to help you. If you want to look polished for an interview, you might want something that reads more controlled, sleek. You know what I mean?" Aisha stared into the mirror. She did know what Brooke meant, and she hated that she knew. "My hair is professional," Aisha said, voice steady. and I'm not changing it to make strangers comfortable. Brooke's mouth tightened. Okay, she said. No need to get defensive. I'm not defensive, Aisha replied calmly. I'm setting a boundary. Brooke stepped back like boundaries were insulting. Fine, she said. But I'm telling you now, I can't guarantee a smooth finish if you insist on keeping it natural. Aisha's eyes narrowed slightly. A silk press on natural hair is a normal service, she said. If you're not comfortable doing it, please tell me now. Brooke's cheeks flushed. I do it, she snapped. I do it all the time. Then do it respectfully, Aisha said. For a moment, Brooke looked like she might escalate. Instead, she turned sharply toward the sink area. We're washing, she said, like a command. Aisha followed, heart pounding, trying to decide what to do. Walk out now and lose the appointment? Stay and risk being treated like an inconvenience for the next hour? She didn't want a confrontation. She wanted her hair done. She wanted to go home and focus on her interview. At the sink, Brooke set the water too hot at first. Aisha flinched. Too hot, Aisha said quickly. Brooke adjusted it with a sigh. You're very particular, she muttered. Aisha closed her eyes and chose calm again. Because it's my head, she said. Brooke shampooed roughly. When Aisha's curls began to tighten with water, Brooke made another little laugh, this one openly mocking. It just keeps getting bigger, Brooke said loudly. It's like a magic trick. Aisha opened her eyes. In the mirror across the room, she saw two clients watching. One was a white woman with highlighted hair who looked uncomfortable. The other was a black woman in a denim jacket, maybe late 20s, with neat twists and a tight jaw. Aisha met the black woman's eyes for a second, an unspoken acknowledgement. Are you hearing this too? The woman gave a small nod, slow and certain. Brooke applied conditioner and raked through Aisha's hair quickly, not gently, snapping through tangles like her patience was more important than Aisha's comfort. Do you have a lot of shedding? Brooke asked. Not unusually, Aisha said. Brooke held up a few strands like evidence. Because this is a lot, she said, voice louder again. You might want to consider a keratin treatment, or, honestly, a relaxer would make your life easier. Aisha's voice stayed calm, but something in it hardened. Stop suggesting chemical changes, she said. I said no. Brooke rolled her eyes. Okay, she said. I'm just saying, some people get tired of fighting their hair. Aisha's hands gripped the chair arms. I'm not fighting it, she said. I'm fighting the way you're speaking to me. That was the moment Brooke fully crossed the line. She turned slightly toward the open salon floor and said, half laughing, I swear, clients like this come in wanting miracles and then get mad when you tell them the truth. The black woman in the denim jacket stood up from her chair. She didn't shout. She didn't make a scene. She simply walked toward the front desk with purpose, phone in hand, as if she'd decided this wasn't going to be normal. Aisha watched her move and felt her throat tighten, not out of fear, but out of a sudden, solid certainty. Someone else saw it too. Brooke finished rinsing and wrapped Aisha's hair in a towel, then gestured toward the chair again. Back at the station, Brooke began blow-drying without sectioning properly, yanking a brush through the roots. Aisha's scalp stung. She kept her voice level. I need you to stop pulling, Aisha said. Please. Brooke snapped. Then you should have booked with someone who specializes in this, she said, flicking her hand toward Aisha's hair like it was a category she didn't respect. Aisha sat very still. Okay, Aisha said softly. Stop. Brooke paused, dryer still humming. What? She asked. I'm done, Aisha said, calm but final. I'm not continuing this service with you. Brooke's eyes widened. Are you serious? She scoffed. Your hair is half done. I'm serious, Aisha replied. I will pay for whatever has been done so far, but I'm not letting you touch my hair again. Brooke switched off the dryer with a sharp click. Fine, she snapped. Good luck finding someone else last minute. Aisha stood slowly, unwrapping the towel from her shoulders. Her hair was damp and partly stretched, not styled, an awkward in-between that made her feel exposed. She hated that Brooke had put her in this position, like leaving meant leaving unfinished on purpose. Aisha walked toward the front desk anyway, head high. At the front, the receptionist looked startled. Brooke followed behind, arms crossed, clearly expecting the desk to back her up. Before Aisha could speak, a voice from the side cut in, steady and clear. "That stylist just shamed her the entire time," said the woman in the denim jacket. Out loud, in front of everyone. The receptionist froze. Aisha turned slightly. The woman's name, on a small appointment card she held, read Camille Delaney. Camille lifted her phone slightly. "And yes," she added, "I have it recorded." Brooke's face drained of color. "You can't record in here," she snapped. Camille's expression didn't change. "Then you shouldn't speak like that in public," she said. Aisha's heart hammered. She hadn't wanted this to become a spectacle, but she also knew what happened when people like Brooke got to rewrite the story later. Recording meant there was a truth outside of Brooke's version. Aisha took a breath, voice calm. "I want to speak to the salon manager," she said. The receptionist swallowed. "Our manager is in the back," she said quickly. "One moment." Brooke's smile returned, strained and defensive. "You're really doing this?" she hissed at Aisha. Aisha looked at her, steady. "You did this," she said quietly. "I'm just not staying silent." As the receptionist disappeared through a door, Aisha stood at the counter with damp hair and a steady spine, while Brooke hovered behind her with anger in her eyes, and Aisha understood something clearly now. If the manager tried to dismiss this, if Brooke tried to twist the story into difficult client, Aisha had something stronger than arguments. A witness, a recording, and if she needed to, she would tell the truth publicly, carefully, fairly, and with receipts, so that the next person who walked into Luna and Lace wouldn't have to endure the same kind of shaming just to get their hair done. The front desk area of Luna and Lace studio felt smaller now that everyone could sense something was wrong. The background music kept playing, soft pop that didn't fit the tension, and the smell of hairspray hung in the air like nothing important was happening. Aisha Monroe stood with her damp, half-stretched hair framing her face in a way that made her feel exposed. She kept her shoulders back anyway. Brooke Sutherland hovered a few steps behind her with crossed arms, jaw tight, already rehearsing whatever version of the story made her look innocent. Beside Aisha, Camille Delaney held her phone down at her side, not waving it around, not threatening, just present. A witness who didn't need to raise her voice to be powerful. The receptionist returned a moment later, followed by a woman in her 40s with a sleek bob, reading glasses, and a posture that said she'd stepped into 1,000 problems and didn't scare easily. "I'm Renee Calder," she said, the name on her badge matching her tone, calm and in charge. "I'm the floor manager. What's going on?" Aisha answered first because she refused to let Brooke frame it. "I booked a silk press, trim, and deep conditioning," Aisha said steadily. "From the beginning, Brooke made comments about my hair being a lot, suggested chemical treatments after I said no, laughed at my texture, and spoke about me loudly to the salon like I was unreasonable. She also handled my hair roughly. I ended the service because it felt disrespectful and unsafe." Renee's eyes moved to Brooke. "Brooke?" she asked simply. Brooke's voice came out defensive immediately. "She was being difficult," Brooke said. "I was trying to set expectations. Her hair—" Renee lifted a hand, stopping her mid-sentence. "Don't," she said, not loud, just firm. "Describe the behavior, not your opinion." Brooke blinked. "I told her it would take longer," she insisted. "I suggested options. She got offended." Aisha kept her face composed. "I didn't get offended by time," she said. "I got offended by shaming." Renee turned to Camille. "And you?" she asked. Camille's voice was calm and clear. "I was sitting nearby," she said. I heard everything. It wasn't a private consult. Brooke made comments loud enough for the floor. It was humiliating. I recorded the last part after she said, "Clients like this come in wanting miracles." I didn't start recording until it got bad, but it got bad. Brooke's face tightened. "That's illegal," she snapped. Renee didn't even look at her. "We're not debating recording laws at my desk," she said. Then she looked back at Camille. "If you're willing, I'd like to review it in the office." Camille nodded. "Of course," she said. Renee looked at Aisha. "Come with me," she said gently. "We'll get you out of the open floor." Aisha nodded, grateful for that simple respect. Renee led them into a small office with a ring light in the corner and a shelf of color swatches. The door closed and the noise of the salon dropped to a distant hum. Renee watched the clip on Camille's phone with the sound turned up. Aisha stood off to the side, arms folded loosely, heart beating hard. She hated hearing it again, hated reliving the tone, but she also knew what truth did. It anchored reality when someone tried to float away from it. When the video ended, Renee didn't speak for a moment. She just sat very still, face tightened by disappointment. "Thank you," Renee said finally, looking at Camille. Then she turned to Aisha. "I'm sorry," she said, direct and sincere. "That should not have happened in our salon." Aisha swallowed. "I just wanted a service," she said quietly. "I wasn't looking to create a situation." "I know," Renee replied. "And you didn't. Brooke did." Renee stood, opened the door, and called down the hall. "Brooke, office, now!" Brooke entered with a stiff smile that was already slipping. Renee didn't yell. She didn't insult her. She simply told her the truth the way managers do when they're done pretending. "I heard the recording," Renee said. "Your language was inappropriate, your tone was unprofessional, and you continued recommending chemical treatments after the client said no. You also publicly mocked the client. That violates our service standards." Brooke's face reddened. "So we're letting customers record and ruin stylists now?" she snapped. Renee's voice stayed level. "You ruined this," she said. "Not the recording." Brooke tried again, grasping for a shield. "I'm allowed to have opinions about what's realistic," she said. "Her hair—" Renee cut her off. "Stop talking about her hair like it's a problem," she said, eyes sharp. "Our job is to serve clients with respect. If you aren't trained for a service, you ask for support or you refer out. You don't shame the person in the chair." Brooke's mouth opened, then closed. Renee continued. "You're done for today. Hand me your schedule. You're off the floor." Brooke's eyes widened. "You can't just—" "I can," Renee said. "And I am." Brooke glanced at Aisha like she wanted to blame her directly. Aisha didn't flinch. She just held steady because she was tired of being treated like she had to shrink to keep peace. Brooke turned sharply and left the office. Renee exhaled, then looked back at Aisha, softer. "Here's what I'm going to do," she said. "First, you will not be charged for today. Not a cent. Second, if you still want your services completed, I can put you with our master stylist who specializes in textured hair and silk presses. Her name is Simone Hart. If you'd rather leave, I understand completely, but I don't want you walking out of here feeling punished for protecting yourself." Aisha's throat tightened. She hesitated, then nodded. "If Simone is available," she said, "I'd like to finish. I have an interview. I can't show up like this." Renee nodded immediately. "You won't," she said. "Give me 10 minutes." Simone Hart greeted Aisha like a professional and a human. "Hi, Aisha," Simone said, warm and steady. She was a black woman in her 30s with a calm presence that felt like safety. "Renee told me what happened. I'm sorry. Are you okay to continue today?" Aisha exhaled, and for the first time since she'd sat in the chair, she felt her shoulders drop. "Yes," she said. "Thank you." Simone didn't touch her hair until she explained exactly what she planned to do. "We'll reset with a gentle cleanse, deep condition with heat, detangle in sections, then blow dry with tension control so you're not getting yanked. For the silk press, I'll use a lower pass count and a protectant. You'll still have movement. Then a light trim. Sound good? Aisha nodded. Perfect, she said. At the sink, Simone tested the water temperature on her wrist and asked, "Comfortable?" before letting it touch Aisha's scalp. She worked in sections, spoke softly, and when she detangled, she held the hair close to the root the way someone does when they respect your pain threshold. No commentary, no jokes, no, this is a lot, just skill. Back at the chair, Simone blow-dried in clean, neat sections, clipping everything down with care. The brush didn't snag, the comb didn't rip. Aisha realized she'd been bracing for pain earlier without even noticing. Now she wasn't bracing at all. While Simone worked, Aisha finally let herself say the thing she'd been holding back. "I didn't come in here insecure about my hair," she said quietly, but the way Brooke talked, it tried to put insecurity on me. Simone nodded without looking up, hands steady. "That's what shaming does," she said. "It's not about hair, it's about control." Aisha swallowed. "I'm glad Camille spoke up," she said. Simone glanced at her in the mirror. "Me too," she said. "We all need somebody to say no out loud sometimes." An hour later, Aisha looked in the mirror and saw herself again. Smooth, healthy shine, movement at the ends, a clean trim that made her curls look even better when she went back to natural. She looked polished without losing her identity. Aisha's eyes stung, not from sadness now, but from relief. Simone smiled. "There," she said. "Interview ready." Aisha laughed softly. "Thank you," she said, meaning it. Renee returned with a small envelope. "I also want to offer you a complimentary hydration treatment for a future visit," Renee said. "With Simone if you'd like, and here's my direct line. If anything ever feels off here again, you come to me." Aisha nodded. "I appreciate that," she said. Camille, still nearby, gave Aisha a small smile. "You handled that with more grace than most people," she said. Aisha shrugged lightly. "I've had practice," she replied, and the honesty of that sentence sat heavy for a second. That night, Aisha sat on her couch, hair wrapped in a silk scarf, and thought about what to do next. She didn't want revenge. She didn't want to destroy a business. She wanted accountability, and she wanted the next person to be safer than she'd been. So she wrote a review. Not a rage post, a review. She described the facts clearly. What was said, how it felt, how she ended the service, how the manager responded, how Simone repaired the situation with professionalism. She praised Simone by name. She praised Renee for taking it seriously. She also named Brooke's behavior because hiding it would protect the wrong person. Before posting, Aisha called Camille. "Would you be comfortable if I mentioned that a witness recorded?" Aisha asked. "I'm not posting the video unless you want to." Camille's answer was immediate. "Post your review," she said. "And if you want, I'll post mine too. The video stays with me unless the salon needs it for documentation. This is about truth, not spectacle." Aisha exhaled. "Thank you," she said, "for seeing me." Camille replied quietly, "I've been her client once too. Different day, same tone. I'm done being quiet." Aisha posted her review on Google and Yelp with photos of her finished hair and a simple line. "Simone Hart is exceptional. Renee Calder made it right. The initial treatment should never happen to anyone." Camille posted a shorter review from her account, backing up what she heard and emphasizing how the salon handled it after management got involved. By morning, the reviews were everywhere, not because they were mean, because they were clear. People shared screenshots with captions like, "This is how you hold boundaries. This is how a business should respond. This is what professionalism looks like." The viral part wasn't Brooke getting dragged. It was Simone getting praised. It was Renee's accountability being highlighted. It was thousands of people commenting about salons needing to respect all hair types and stop treating natural texture like a problem. Luna and Lace responded publicly with a short statement. They apologized, confirmed that the client's experience was unacceptable, and said the stylist was no longer taking clients while undergoing disciplinary review and required training. Aisha didn't feel triumphant. She felt lighter. 3 days later, she walked into her interview with her head high, not because her hair was pressed, but because it was hers, cared for properly, treated with respect. When the interview ended, the hiring manager smiled and said, "We'll be in touch soon." They were. Aisha got the position. That night, she sent one message to Renee and Simone. "Got the job. Thank you for helping me walk in feeling like myself." Simone replied first. That was always the goal. The happy ending wasn't a salon being cancelled. It was a client refusing to accept shame as normal, a witness choosing truth over silence, a manager choosing accountability over defensiveness, and a stylist showing what real skill looks like when it comes with respect. And the review went viral for the right reasons, because it didn't just call out what was wrong, it showed what right can look like.